Hey, welcome into this edition of the GASOCast. Double Trouble weekend. Going to Dallas, Houston. We got it all here. But first, let's jump into some housekeeping. I'm Gaso Mass. I'm joined by @Gaso Blue and @Gaso Linden. The Gaso Fast break will be dropping on Friday. We got tons of weekend preview coverage. Next week, we'll get into kind of the recap of that, and then we'll do some other stuff. Rankings are coming soon, so be on the lookout after the Gaso Fall Tour. Those will start taking shape. The Recruiting Simplified newsletter, that will be dropping every Wednesday, as usual, 9 a.m., 1 minute of reading, a lot of knowledge. And then a cup of hoops next week, sponsored by Synergy. Mass and Blue will be back at it. I think, Lyndon, you will be invited. So just heads up and get ready for that. Moving on, let's talk players. Let's talk this weekend. As we wind down the fall tour sessions and prepare for the season, what are some things that we're looking out of these, dress rehearsal games, like right before the scrimmages start, like moving out of the fall, moving into the season? What are y'all looking for, Landon? I'm going to pass it to you.
Yeah, for me, we've gotten almost a month, almost 2 months of trying to figure out how to crack the code on where these teams align for that initial power rankings of who's going to be the state contenders, who's going to be the dark horses. This weekend really serves as the last chance for us to kind of put together those preseason rankings for where we think who's going to be number one in each classification, because there's a lot of the contenders, a lot of those teams who can you can pencil into those top 5-10 spots in their classifications that we're going to have our eyes on this weekend. And so this can be kind of another opportunity for them to really stamp their claim and say, you know what, we deserve to be number one in the preseason rankings, and we're going to take that into account this weekend.
Blue, your thoughts?
Yeah, just along the same lines as Linden. I mean, things are taking shape here. Teams have been playing multiple weekends. We're seeing this time of the year pick up even more than we have in the past. And so, when you look at teams like that we haven't seen, that we're going to take a really hard look at, this is really where you try to find out who those competitors are, who are going to be those teams that are going to start the season on a high note. And usually things don't change that much when you kind of get to this point after you've seen a lot of basketball in the fall, and then you start entering November. You kind of really, for us, I mean, we really get a good grip on these teams, and then you kind of also, there's always this hint of who are going to be the sleepers of the group, because as we're doing weekly rankings and so forth, we have a list of our 25 plus our guys plus another 10 to 15 teams that are going to be sneaking in. And I just think that this is the time of the year that we're only a couple of weeks away from even tipping off the season with TAPS and UIL season. So things are going to start slowing down and evening out and be balanced.
Yeah, I like y'all took a 30,000 foot view. I'm going to zoom in a lot here. Y'all went team, I'm going players. I love this time of year because I'm so focused on prospects. I love seeing as many teams as possible. I love seeing prospects like kind of just pop in a new way that maybe I haven't seen before. And then I love finding new guys that I've just never seen before, especially with the young crop coming in with 28s, 27s, already getting a little more familiar with them and seeing them make their varsity debuts is really, really fun for me. Let's head into Eyes on You. Who is a prospect in Dallas? We're going to go to Houston next, but who's a prospect in Dallas that you have your eyes on this weekend, Lyndon?
For me, Devin Pearson from Lancaster. Saw him at TABC, and he was dominant. Very, very good weekend for him back in June. But, with Desmond Jones back in the fold in Lancaster and the pieces they have, that title experience they have, I'm looking to Devin Pearson as a guy who can really kind of put his stamp on this weekend and say, you know what, whenever the new 2025 rankings come out, my name better factor heavily into your discussions, because he has the potential to do that.
Love it. Blue?
Yeah, I just think that there's, like you said earlier, Masters, this is the time of the year really to see bulk. And I mean, why not see the bulk that Allen's going to bring? With the Shannon twins, got Trent Payne. How is he going to lead this team? DeAndre Thomas, Isaiah Dozier. And then we're going to find out even their depth if they have. I know they have Lawrence there running the point guard position. And so, you look at teams like that. And then, of course, with Dallas Jesuit, with Caleb Steger and Michael Grant, how does this factor in? But the one I think that I'm really going to focus on, because I've gotten a ton of calls on, is Cash Polk. I was there with Sam Lowe when unfortunately he busted his ACL December of 2023, right before break, with Argyle going into Christmas break. And so, I'm just as excited to see him, to see where he's at, because he's worked so darn hard to get to this point to be ready. And so there's obviously some things to take into account here: conditioning, his getting up and down the court. But there's going to be these flashes that I know he's going to give us. He's going to be able to shoot the ball. He's going to be able to rebound. Getting into game shape is always a lot different than just sitting around going through rehab. So I think that he's got a lot of questions in terms of like guys calling consistently in the 2020, looking for that next 2025 that's still available. And so I'm going to be zoned in on Cash Polk.
That's a great name. I'm going to go with Pflugerville Weiss. 2025s in particular: Lamarius White, Brian Phelps, and Mekhi Bryant. These three are talented, and we've, quite frankly, thrown them to the wolves. They've got a fun schedule there at the Colony, and I can't wait to kind of zoom in on those three guys, because I think they're all three underrated in their own right. So really can't wait to see them. Who's that guy in Houston for you? Or I guess we all did multiple guys. So who are those multiple guys in Houston for you, Lyndon?
For me, the name that I am ready to see this weekend in Houston is Josh Goodwin with Cy Ranch. I mean, Cy Ranch had a really good year last year, and he's kind of taken over as that leader. He can really do it all. He's a multi-tool prospect. He rebounds, he runs the floor, he scores, he shoots, he can facilitate as a point guard. I mean, he's one of those guys who, like you said, we're throwing to the wolves a little bit, where, North Shore, Lufkin, those are two tough programs. If you're a guard, you're going to have to try and excel against. But I think that Goodwin has a chance to really make a strong impression with our staff and with any college coaches that are watching this weekend, because of that competition level that he's going to see.
Love it. I'll hop in here. I have a schedule built out for Houston. I'm going to try and see everything. It's going to be like the TABC, where I have these plans and then the event hits me and it just doesn't work out, but I'm going to try and see everything I possibly can. I sent you all this long giant note yesterday and shared it with you, Blue and Timmons. I probably just overwhelmed y'all, because I'm overwhelmed. But the guy for me is Devin Brown, Pearland. I love the way he scored the ball for Team Temple 16U at the Gasso. He's strong guard, has a lot to like. Just want to see the progress, see these guys moving forward and getting better. Blue, who are some guys you want to see?
Brady Willis from Katy. You brought him attention to him early last year, and I just want to see his progress of where he is, and he's that guy that they can run the ball, that they can run the offense through, where he can get the ball out on the perimeter or get to the high post area, dump it off to his wings, get it go inside, step out, knock down shots himself. So there's a lot of versatility to his game, and a year later, kind of being, to me, the focal point of this offense that can do many things. Yeah. I look for some good games out of him, and then over at Crosby, you have Evan Egan's that I liked last year when I went down to the Clear Lake tournament, and so then seeing him, just where's his development? I mean, he's a guy that can take it to the hole. He can sit down on the perimeter, knock down shots. He's another guard that can go out there and just pressure the ball, 94 feet, long, rangy, and he's got some athleticism. So I'm kind of really curious to see where he's at and where he's going to take this team in the coming weeks.
Good names. Who are some sneaky good matchups? The headliners are easy to see, and quite frankly, I cheated. And I gave the matchup in Houston. But who are some sneaky matchups that you want to see at the respective events? We'll start in Dallas. Lyndon?
Yeah, sorry for taking this one before you could, Blue.
Sorry, I didn't read it.
Yeah, that's an even more fair point. But Sherman and Flower Mound Marcus, I mean, there's very few 25s that I think that the entire, college coaches, media, us want to see more than Vontae Sanders. Nice. And, that Sherman team is tough. Aiden Rashada, some of the guys they can trot out there. This is a really good team with a lot of wins. We're in our top 10 in the 5A rankings last year, the entire season, basically. and they go in against that Flower Mound Marcus team with Jaden Romnan on, Luke Susko, some of those dudes. That's another sleeper in 6A who could really make a statement this weekend. So that's the game that I have circled, and I will be courtside for sure before we get on the road to Houston.
Blue?
Yeah, Kenyon Randall is going to face Cedar Hill. You talk about two teams that are going to run you to death. This is going to be the perfect track meet of the weekend. And so Randall's going to rely on Taysom Combs as kind of one of their guys that's going to step in and take on that role of scoring a lot, because he's a guy that can sit out there, knock down consistently the three-pointer. And then Christian Smith is going to be another resource for Trevor Johnson, the head coach there, along with Jackson Tonioli. And then you look at Cedar Hill, the Trey Young. Trey Young, we saw multiple times hit the 30-point mark or more at the Gasos when he was playing with the FAM. And so he's a guy that's going to generate a lot of offense for that Cedar Hill, along with Jaron Goodwin. They're going to use speed and quickness and try to counter anything that Kenyon Randall does with probably 94 feet of pressure.
Yeah, good call. I'm going to go with Decatur versus Colleyville Heritage. Y'all know I have an affinity for great guard play, and Javen Colbert can just fill it up. There's always a chance he could go for 30 or 40. And then Cash Gardner, same thing. Y'all saw him. Y'all witnessed him hit 11 threes in a game. There's a guard on Colleyville Heritage who I'm just a big fan of. His name's Damari Evans. He played really well at a couple of our events, at the live periods in particular. And this kid's a winner. Like, if I was coaching, I would want to coach a kid like that. He gets it done. He passes. He can score. I saw him take like a game-winning charge. He's a killer. He's a winner. Let's move on to Houston. Blue, I'm going to just start with your matchup first because I'm really excited to see that one. I almost used it, but I pivoted away and I cheated. And y'all will see how I cheated. So, Blue, go.
Xavier Academy versus Friendswood. Yeah. Intrigued here because, obviously Montana Wheeler moved on to Xavier Academy here. And I want to kind of see what's going to happen with Chase Richardson. How is he going to play against a Montana Wheeler who has been in this position before? Yeah. One of a very heavily talked about guard who can set up his teammates, be able to run the show in the half court, can get to the basket and do some crazy things and video highlight stuff with the ball. But where's the maturity level now of Chase Richardson? How does he lead this team that was once seconds away from getting to regionals last year in head coach Danny Russell's offensive system in year one? Now year two, he's going to be given the ball consistently to go make plays and get the ball off to like a Dylan Baker. But Montana Wheeler, he's always having something to prove, right? So he's going to go out there, and I'm sure if him or his dad listens to this, they're going to go, hey, let's go stop Caleb Richardson. Let's go break. Let's twist that offense up and see what they're really going to do if we take him out. So let's just kind of see the maturity and where Chase is at.
I'm going to hop in here. How is the answer not Atascocita Legacy? I just ignored the sneaky part and I just went to good matchups. Atascocita, Adam Boyd, can't wait to see where he is. Jalen Finner, Zason Salanoa and company versus Jason Scott, TRM, Scotty Guillory, Johan Gutierrez, Mohammed Indoubt. Should I just keep going? There's tons of talent on the floor, and I'm going to ask y'all and even my people down in Houston, just don't talk to me during that game because there's a lot of work to be done, and I'm going to be sitting there focused watching that one. Lyndon, why don't you wrap us up here?
Yeah, for me, this matchup is sneaky because it's two teams that are at a very different point. PA Memorial last year won 30 games and bring back like 7 or 8 dudes off that team. Kendall Hillstock's a name to watch, but like this is a veteran team that's going to have a lot of expectations coming into the year. And then Houston Second Baptist. I mean, one of my former college coaches, Taylor Land, gets the job there, and they have one of the best 27s in the state, and Reese Alston. I mean, if you haven't seen him play, get out to the MI3 Center this weekend and take a look for yourself because it is just like all caps FUN fun. But I mean, this team, they're young, they've got a lot to prove, and going against a veteran PA Memorial group, I think this one has the chance for some fireworks.
Yeah, and PA Memorial's defense was no joke last year. I mean, yes. I went through it. I don't think an opponent got above 60 at any point, like for a long stretch there. But those are fun matchups. We are so looking forward to it. We're dialed in. We are going to be sleep deprived, but coffee is going to be pumping through the veins. So we are ready for this weekend, and we will see you there.